Hey baseball fans, the season is just about here, so it's time once again for me to tell you where I see each team ending up this year and who I have winning it all. My breakout team pick last year did really well in the Texas Rangers, and no, I'm not going to pick the Mets to win it all again, not this year. Anyways, if you agree with my takes, disagree with them, or want to tell me how you see certain teams doing this year, hit me up in the comments below. Let's get to it. I'm going to start off with the AL Central, and in fifth, I've got the Chicago White Sox. White Sox traded away Dylan Cease and let their only other decent pitcher in Clevenger walk, then added no notable major leaguers this offseason. Try to enjoy seeing Luis Robert play great, the likely call-up of Colson Montgomery, and possibly the revival of Mike Soroka. Full rebuild mode time. Not much to get excited about here. 58 wins. Then in fourth, got the Kansas City Royals. The Royals were atrocious in 2023, but have a young core of hitters and did make moves to improve. They added a duo of starters in Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha to go along with a full season of Cole Ragans, while also signing a group of solid vets for some depth. Will they be good? Probably not, but they will be far better than last year. I'll say 74 wins. Then for third place, I'm going to say it's the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland's one big add this offseason was Scott Barlow. In short, Cleveland did nothing to improve, and the only way they do any better than last year is if McKenzie stays healthy and gets back to his 2022 form, and Shane Bieber pitches like a Cy Young while everyone else stays healthy. I don't see that at all happening. About the same as last year at 77 wins. Then for second place, I've got the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers' two issues holding them back in 2023 was depth and star power. They at least addressed their depth by adding multiple veteran starting pitchers, relievers, and hitters. Those pieces will all help, but the make or break of this team will be its many young players. I expect notable improvement from that core of guys, but not enough to get the division. This team was fortunate to win 78 games last year with a negative 79 run differential, but they have notably improved and will likely be a truly solid MLB team, getting 84 wins this year. And that leaves the first place team to be the Minnesota Twins. The Twins handily won the division in 2023, and I expect them to win the division again. They did lose Sonny Gray, which will hurt, but they are plenty talented enough still. Assuming they can stay somewhat healthy, it will be another year of the Twins winning the Central. This time, I will say at 86 wins. The second division we're going to take a look at is the NL Central. And in fifth place, I've got the Pittsburgh Pirates. I, among Pirates fans, am excited to see O'Neal Cruz back and hopefully healthy, but the Pirates will have a similar problem as they did last year. Minuscule starting pitching outside of Mitch Keller and Paul Skeens if and when he gets called up, and little depth in the batting line. With that said, I still see them having enough talent to get 72 wins. Coming in fourth place, I've got the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers won the NL Central last season, but it's safe to say I don't see that happening this year. A tough offseason of losing multiple key players along with superstar Corbin Burns and knowing that Brandon Woodruff would miss the year was setting up to be a tough season on their pitching staff. On top of that, now Devin Williams is going to miss 3 or more months. Not good. The Brewers could surprise me, but I only see about 74 wins here. Next, I have the St. Louis Cardinals finishing in third. The Cards sure as heck want to forget about their disappointing 2023 season. Adding Sonny Gray will help, and St. Louis will now boast a rotation of arms who can eat innings in Lynn, Gibson, and Mikolas. The issue being that eating innings doesn't help a whole lot when you all pitched around a 5 ERA last year. Now I expect those ERAs to slightly improve, but not by enough. and their solid offense isn't enough for me to predict this team winning more than 80 games this year. Coming in second, I've got the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds will take a bit of a hit with the PED suspension of Mlb Marte, but regardless, they have a strong and deep lineup and will be top 10 in runs scored again in 2024. Why I don't have them winning the division is their starting pitching. It hurt them down the stretch last year, and I expect it to hurt them again this year. I've got them at 85 wins, but if those starters make strides of improvement, then watch out for the Reds this season. And thus, finishing in first place, I have the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs were set on offense last year, and will be this year. We all know that. Now what the Cubs did was go out and sign one of the best starters available in Shota Imanaga, and one of the most reliable relievers in Hector Neris. I expect the Cubs to avoid the collapse they had at the end of last season and break out to be one of the best teams in the NL by winning 92 games and the NL Central. Now, let's take a look at the AL West. And in fifth place, gonna surprise you a little bit here. Actually, no, it's not gonna surprise you. It's Oakland. The A's had a league worst 50 wins last year and added essentially nothing of value. Per standard for the A's ownership, giving their fans nothing but pain to watch. I'll be nice and say they will win 54 games, but it's going to be an ugly end to their time in Oakland. Now for fourth place, pretty easy pick here. Gonna go with the Los Angeles Angels. I didn't believe in this team last year with Shohei, and was right that even with Shohei having one of the greatest seasons in recent memory, they won a measly 73 games. They have no notable improvements to their roster, and they lost Shohei. Unless Trout stays healthy and has an MVP-like season, I don't see the Angels being safely in the 70s for wins. I'll say they get 69 wins.
Now to the real teams in the division.
I have the Mariners finishing third. By no means did Seattle have a bad offseason. They made a couple of decent free agency signings and were heavily involved in the trade market and exchanging solid players with other teams. I would not be the least bit surprised if they win the division, although I will say they just miss out on winning the division again with 88 wins, but should manage a wild card berth. For second place, I see the Rangers back here again. The defending champion Rangers had the third best offense last year behind the Dodgers and Braves, and I expect them to be top 3 again and even compete for the top offense in the league. Their pitching is slightly below average when compared to the whole league, but as long as they stay at just about average, their offense will carry them just fine. For the regular season, I'll go with 91 wins, and if DeGrom and Scherzer come back, expect them to make another playoff run to try and defend their title. And I have the Houston Astros winning the division. Most of their offseason can be summed up as they lost a couple of relievers, then replaced their losses with Josh Hader. Outside of the 2020 shortened season, Houston has won the division every year since 2016, and I don't see that changing. Give the Stros 94 wins along with the division again. Now let's take a look at the NL West. And no surprise here, the Rockies should finish dead last in the NL West. A team that consists of a couple good hitters and an abysmal pitching staff in a hitter-friendly park. No offseason acquisitions of note. The Rockies will win about 56 games in 2024. Then in fourth, I've got the San Diego Padres. No team lost more talent than the Padres this offseason. Guys like Juan Soto, Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Blake Snell, and Josh Hader, just to name the most notable ones. With that said, they did offset some of their losses by adding guys like Michael King, Dylan Cease, and Yuki Matsui. You may expect me to say they will lose far more games this year, except they got very unlucky last year, having a plus 104 run differential, resulting in only 82 wins. I see the run differential dropping to close to even, but the record staying the same at 82 and 80. I have the defending NL champs finishing third in the NL West. A young team with a lot of developing players and budding superstars in the likes of Corbin Carroll, who had no major losses from the year prior, while adding in players like Eduardo Rodriguez and Eugenio Suarez, give you a playoff team. I'll say the D-backs win 87 games and get into the wild card. And finishing second, I've got the San Francisco Giants. San Fran may have been overshadowed by another team's offseason in this division that we will talk about soon, but the Giants quietly had a great offseason. Oh, never mind. They just signed Blake Snell as I was writing this script. Not so quiet of an offseason anymore. The Giants signed 4 quality hitters as well as locking up Blake Snell. Big improvements without any major pieces lost. The Giants will be back to their playoff ways with 89 wins this year. Winning the division, shock. I'm going to put it as a lock. The LA Dodgers will win the NL West for sure. Coming off a 100-win season, they added 2 amazing players in Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani pending the whole gambling stuff, assuming he doesn't get suspended, they will be fine. And on top of that, they also added Tyler Glasnow without losing any major pieces from their 2023 team. I'll say the Dodgers win 107 games this season, assuming Shohei does not get suspended. And now getting to the final AL division, we have the AL East. In 5th place, I've got the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox were a solid team last year, nearly finishing with a .500 record, but they had an offseason showing a mini 1 to 2 year rebuild is more of their plans. Losing solid pieces like Chris Sale, Alex Verdugo, Adam Duvall, James Paxton, and Justin Turner without adding much on doesn't signal a good year here. They did have a nice signing in Lucas Giolito though, only for him to get hurt. This may be a year to see what Vaughn Grissom, Cedane Raphael, and others can do. I'll say they get 73 wins. In 4th place, I've got the New York Yankees. I was originally planning on having the Yankees closer to 90 wins, but I had to reassess after this March. Having Aaron Judge banged up already and Cole out for a few months isn't the best of news. They still made some nice signings and trades this offseason, with their huge trade being for Juan Soto. Their pitching makes me a bit worried though, and they may get off to a slow start. I expect them to heat up as the year goes on, but fall just a couple games short of the wild card at 85 wins. Then finishing in 3rd, I've got the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay above New York, the team who lost Glasnow, their top 3 starting pitchers to injury, and their superstar shortstop? Yes, those losses hurt, absolutely, but this is still a good team. Their hitting was top 5 last year and will be great again this year. And knowing the Rays, you already know they will get good value out of their pitching somehow. I still see a massive drop-off, but a good team to get 86 wins, which will be utterly terrifying next year when their top starting pitchers all return. Then finishing in 2nd place, I've got the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have been right at the 90-win mark the last 3 seasons, and with an offseason consisting of losing 2 to 3 solid players and adding 2 to 3 solid players, I don't see too much change here. Just another good season, which I will say ends at 88 wins. And to wrap out the division, I have the Baltimore Orioles getting 1st place. Baltimore won the division last year and added Corbin Burnes without losing too much this offseason. Their team will be fantastic and would be even better if they didn't lose their top 2 pitchers from 2023 to season-ending injuries in Felix Bautista and Kyle Bradish. If healthy, this is a repeat 100-win team, but instead, I see 94 and still a fantastic season with a great future. And the final division that we have to take a look at is the NL East. And to start off in 5th place, I've got the Miami Marlins. You know what the Marlins did this offseason? They lost a couple of solid players and made one ad. The statistically worst player in 2023 with a negative 2.0 WAR, Tim Anderson. That's it. Add insult to injury, and Sandy Alcantara is out for the year, and now Yuri Perez maybe. They miraculously made the playoffs last year as a team with a negative 57 run differential. But I do not see them getting lucky this year. It'll be a tough year for the Marlins at about 66 wins. Finishing in fourth, I've got the Washington Nationals. The Nats didn't add much of anybody, and they lost two solid players in Jeimer Candelario from a trade during the season and Carl Edwards Jr. after. This team has a ton of young talent and could surprise us all and make a Diamondbacks-like push. I just don't see it quite yet. Give it another year or two with James Wood and Dylan Cruz comfortable in the majors, then add some free agents to complement the young core. Just 69 wins this year though. Finishing in third, I've got the New York Mets. The Mets have some nice hitting pieces: Nimmo, Marte, Alonso, Lindor, McNeil, Alvarez, and now JD Martinez. Not too bad. Their pitching, well, Senga is now hurt, and they have a great closer in Edwin Diaz. I anticipate a lot of struggles making it to Edwin Diaz, though. Assuming their starting pitching is as horrendous as it looks, I will give the Mets 75 wins this year. Then going over to second place, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. This will be my biggest non-division winner lock pick. Phillies will finish second place in the division. The Phillies were a 90-win team last year, who are losing Hoskins, who didn't play last year, and outside of that, really only Craig Kimbrell. Their one good ad was Whit Merrifield. One good ad, one good player lost. Same win total for 2024, 90 wins. And winning the division, the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are amazing, we all know this. As for the offseason, they lost very little and made some nice ads in Reynaldo Lopez and Chris Sale. Expect another amazing year and division title. I'll say they wrap it up at 105 wins. So, taking a look at the playoffs, in the American League, my division winners are the Houston Astros, the Baltimore Orioles, and the Minnesota Twins. My wildcard teams are the Texas Rangers, Toronto Blue Jays, and the Seattle Mariners. Then, over in the NL, my division winners are the LA Dodgers, the Atlanta Braves, and the Chicago Cubs, with my wildcard teams being the Philadelphia Phillies, the San Francisco Giants, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, taking a look at the World Series, I have the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Dodgers making it. I've got the Baltimore Orioles winning in 7 games. Well, there you have it. That's how I see the league playing out this year. Let me know what you think, and if you enjoyed the video and want to see more baseball content during the year, hit that subscribe button. I hope to see you around.